As you can see, setting up these things is not the quickest process in the world. In fact, it takes 1,000 years to be able to set these things up. But once you get them on the water, they're a lot of fun. Hey you guys, this is Will from Everyday Adventures, and I'm out here on the Snake River in south central Idaho on my pontoon, on my Colorado XT Pontoon. And I have tricked this thing out to make it into the ultimate fishing machine. Now, there are a lot of other people out there that I think are interested in what it looks like to get a very personal watercraft, very personal meaning that you're the only one that's gonna be on it, and taking this personal watercraft and turning it into a fishing machine. Well, I had that idea too, so I sold my 12-foot aluminum John boat with a really old 10 horsepower outboard on it, and instead decided to get myself a pontoon. Overall, I've really liked it, although it's a total pain in the butt to be able to load up all of that gear and then also to take all that gear back home. It is a lot of work. A canoe or a kayak especially would be way less work. Anyway, you're here, you're watching this, you probably want to know what I've done to this Colorado XT, and while I am motoring myself back to my truck after a fishing trip, I will go ahead and give you a brief tour of what I've done to this thing. First of all, you'll notice my trolling motor. You'll see that I got two bungees hooked between that and the back of my chair. And what that enables me to do is as I pivot my body, it can steer the pontoon. Now, this is obviously a really big deal, and that's one of the reasons I did not get a kayak, is because I'm getting a personal watercraft for the purpose of fishing and fishing alone. And it's kind of hard to fish if you have an oar in your hand, you know what I'm saying? And so that's why I figured that, hey, a pontoon with a trolling motor would be perfect. And especially if I can control it with my butt, just like I use my foot in my trolling motor on my boat. That means I have two hands to be able to control my fishing poles and all my gear. Now, there are some tricks to using a trolling motor with the self-driven thing. One of the big downsides of these pontoons is they do not track. I would say that they track like garbage, but that's not even accurate. They don't track at all. If you put this trolling motor on just like I got it right now and just take off, you're gonna be spinning circles. So there's a couple tricks to solve that problem, the tracking problem in a pontoon. The first way of doing it is by buying it's like a rudder attachment for the bottom of your trolling motor. I do not have one on here, but I have a friend who got one, and he said it almost immediately made a huge difference in how his pontoon tracked. The cheaper way of doing it that doesn't require you to do anything, but it does require you to keep your oars on your boat, is to take the oars, put them down and in the water. Make sure they're down in there. And what they basically do is act like a couple of rudders that make sure that as they're pointed in that direction, that you're gonna go straight. And it still enables you to twist. And you can see me turning right here, or you can see me twist, and now I'm turning towards that shore. It's really slick. I was having a lot of trouble until I realized that all I needed to do was put oars into the water, and that solved the tracking issue. Okay, the other upgrade that I made that was huge, fish finder. I did a separate review for the Garmin Striker 4 CV fish finder, and I give you my overall thoughts about it. It's not a tutorial on how to use it, but I do show my favorite settings and some of the things that I do really enjoy about having this fish finder on my fishing machine. And I also eventually will probably do a video on how to mount the transducer on this Colorado XT Pontoon. The way I did it is really slick. It folds right out of the way, and there's nothing on it that's gonna rot or break, and it's flexible, so when I forget to put it up and I'm going over rocks, it won't break. And that's a really important thing. The other things that I've done that are kind of no-brainers on the XT is install fishing rod holders. Here's a collapsible one right here, and then I just got a homemade one that I made out of PVC pipe. I highly encourage the PVC option. And the reason behind that is if you break it or if it pops off your boat, it's like no big loss. But one of the things that I'm personally famous for, whenever I take a boat out, whether it be my bigger boat or the pontoon or any other watercraft, is I'll break something every time. Like every time I'll break something. And so I haven't broke anything yet this trip, but I still got another half mile to go till I get home. If you're like this particular deal right here, that pops out. I did have another one right there. You might see the empty slot for it, but it's just that, it's an empty slot. Because I went to pull my fishing rod out of it and the whole unit came up with it, and as soon as I moved it over the water, kerplunk, it fell off. Actually, it was probably right here, right where I'm motoring over right now. So not shocking. Now I just, you know, shrug my shoulders and say, oh, yep, that was the one thing that I was gonna lose or break. The other upgrade that I did to this is I put a swivel seat on it. And I guess that could have gone without saying, but you can buy some models brand new that already have the seat swivel on it. Mine did not. So all I did is I went to the store, and you could order off Amazon. I just went to Walmart and bought mine. And just get yourself a boating seat swivel. They're pretty cheap, and it was a easy mod to be able to fit it on there. You do need some hardware, and for me, I bought stainless hardware so that it wouldn't rust and I wouldn't fall out of my chair when I'm going over rapids or something in my pontoon. I think that's about it for the main mods that I made to this Colorado XT personal pontoon boat. As long as you don't mind taking 1,000 years to get ready and into the water, you'll really enjoy this boat. It really does. It's super stable. I was out here in the same stretch of water when a huge windstorm came up, and this thing was white capping over me, and the wind was blowing 30 miles an hour straight into my face. I felt like Lieutenant Dan in Forrest Gump. It was just like, you will not sink this boat! I'm not even kidding, it was that scary. So anyway, overly, very, very stable. You can put platforms. You'll see some people put platforms on this on YouTube so that they can stand up. I didn't want to, because while I don't have my flippers on right now, I have worn flippers in here thinking that would give me more of a hands-free option, but I didn't really like it all that much because you can't get your feet in the water as much as you can like in a float tube. So steering with fins, it's just not a thing. It just doesn't work. Don't even waste your time. Anyway, well, hey, thanks for joining me as I kind of broke down my Colorado XT mods on this little personal fishing machine here. If you haven't got one yet, and it sounds like this might be your cup of tea, then go for it. I'd encourage it. If you have any questions about my boat, feel free to leave a question or even a comment in the comment section. And for sure, do me the favor of giving me a thumbs up for this overview of my pontoon boat. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. Dear Lord, my kids say I'm too old to be a YouTube star, and I need your help to prove them wrong. Thanks for joining me on my adventure. See you next time.